This is probably a good segue into the next point.
Yes, you read my mind, Eileen. Well done. Okay, here we go. Drum roll. The third thing that I was not going to say off the top, because this requires context. People having trouble with it being a woman, but not necessarily saying that the problem is the doctor is a woman. And I want to pad this a little bit because I saw this problem coming during the Matt Smith years, where, let's face it, Matt Smith, especially after that rough first season, was a downgrade from David Tennant. By the end, we grew to like him, but even then, I remember saying at a sci-fi convention once, the next place to take it, ironically, is either the doctor's not white, but I'd like to see the doctor be a woman. And the vociferous pushback to that, and the female fans were worse than the men back then. You did not take away a female Whovian's like toxic daddy boyfriend. And I do think that I don't remember if we talked about this the last time we talked about Doctor Who. But to me, there's a difference between the Doctor being traditionally male. It was not the first appearance of a Doctor as a woman. That was the comic relief sketch, which I loved. That's where I got the idea in my head. It's like, this worked for 90 seconds, but still, it still worked. But yeah, it's divided. One, the Doctor is a Time Lord, and we already had Missy say Time Lady. It's an upgrade. For some odd reason, people were fine with that. But this false notion that the Doctor is inherently male, we don't even know that Time Lords have the same concept of gender as humans do. Julian, is there anything that disputes that?
Nope.
Because going back to like the Ronnie and Ramona and people like that, I mean, the Ronnie is an example of still a Time Lord.
Still a Time Lord, referred to herself as a Time Lord, did not refer to herself as a Time Lady. Romana referred to herself as a Time Lord. I believe it was 4 that called her a Time Lady, not herself, but you know, sure. And funny story, Tom Baker was interviewed back in the day when it was, I believe it was during his 6th year as Doctor Who. And they asked him, well, when you're planning to leave, you know, what'll happen? He goes, well, I'm not going to have any input, but I believe the Doctor should be a woman.
Yep.
They went, yeah, the response we got today, which already wouldn't occur, is the response he got back then. It's ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As early as the Fourth Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thought it would be great. You know?
It's this, I don't know. It is this thing in Doctor Who fandom. I don't relate to it because I mean, I remember watching Doctor Who as a kid and on a black and white TV with Tom Baker as the Doctor. And there's always been this bendy. Now, okay, part of it was because the 60s through the 80s in sci-fi, people just pushed every fetish someone on the writing staff had, and nudge, wink, it's just aliens. I mean, it was not subtle. They did a flat out furry episode where cast members were attracted to the cat people.
And it was how the classic rod ended. I didn't know that.
But Doctor Who has never been a gay show, remember?
I mean, that very sapphic kind of space druids episode. I keep going, this was supposed to be for families, but that's what it was. I mean, that really got going in the 70s. Because the closet door was sort of open, aka like the Village People in Freddie Mercury. They were sort of hiding in plain sight in sci-fi. And it's this Doctor Who's this wonderful snapshot of the era it's made in. And it is interesting that, well, let's face it, first of all, a lot of the people who are really into modern Who didn't watch the classic stuff.
Yep.
A lot of them got into it with Matt Smith. That's a lot. Anybody kind of under 30, that seems to be their first Doctor.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was my first Doctor as well, and I'm going to be 40 this year.
Yeah,
You
okay.
know?
So I'm on the older end. I remember it when it was still on. It was on TV Ontario here. That's where I first saw it.
Now, I first saw it, it was PBS, and
Oh, maybe it was PBS. You're right. Okay, yeah.
my earliest memory of Doctor Who, and I honestly had no idea what the show was. So when the modern show came back, I didn't even realize I had already seen Doctor Who. Like it consumed my soul, and it was that or other things. So might as well let it. But my earliest memory was like I remember this weird guy, all in beige for some strange reason, and he had a vegetable on his lapel that I still don't know what that.
The
I know
celery.
what it's for now, but I don't know what it was for. And he was walking out of a police box, and there was this. My apologies here, but there's this really hot girl that was following him in shorts, and I would tell this to people, literally that description. They're like, "So, can you get us whatever stuff you're on? Because it sounds great." You know?
My first experience of Doctor Who was, like I said, it was a Dalek episode of the Tom Baker run. And I could only watch like 4 minutes of it because he was doing his very Tom Bakery thing,
Yep.
the peeking up children's theater style and grinning.
Yep.
But then it's the Daleks are talking like this, and just my father from the other room. This was a man who wouldn't let us watch Mr. Rogers. Just bellow, turn that shit off. And so Doctor Who was contraband for a really, really long time. So it is funny how something like that, because it's forbidden, it strengthens the bond you have with it.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
agree with that. It wasn't forbidden for me. It was
Mhm.
just a case of PBS didn't air anything in order either. So I saw
Yeah.
five's last episode, and then it
Yeah.
would be like some of six, and then some of four. And this is where I really did think for a while that I must have smoked something great because I remembered like the doctor walking across the screen, and there was stuff happening in the background. They were playing like racquetball, and he was talking like they were in an episode. Turns out that is actually an episode.
It is. Yeah. I
So,
still want that question mark vest. That I get it wrong. Was that 5 or 6 that had
the
it?
question mark vest
Why?
is 7.
It was
The
7.
seventh?
The question mark vest is
Oh,
7.
wait, Sylvester
The question
McCoy.
Yep, Sylvester McCoy.
Oh,
The
yeah.
question marks were on the collars. That started with 4's last season and was with
Right.
5 and 6, but the
Yes.
vest was 7.
Uh,
And
uh,
then the underwear was everybody else.
I love that knitted vest. I love it. But the official, it is wool, which means cleaning it, and it holds all smells of any kind, and it's so expensive. So that's just one that I'll admire from afar. But yeah, I mean, oh, right. We started talking about kink in Classic Who, and we just went down a rabbit hole. Uh,
Yeah, and the idea that the doctor is a woman is not a new idea. I didn't know my husband, Tom Baker, said that the doctor should be a woman.
oh,
It
yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
reinforces that, he's my favorite doctor from
And
the
I,
classics.
I do love that both Peter Capaldi and David Tennant both get very Scottish on this issue and have just started telling people to fuck right off when
Yeah.
they complain about it. And I mean, it's funny because they do that and people are on Nishuti Gatwa for making a touch grass comment once. Like
Yeah.
it is very, this is a very delicate thing because, like I said, it's not just men. The David Tennant and Matt Smith fangirls with the really serious parasocial crush, they
Yeah.
are the worst about the female doctor. And go ahead, Julian.
Maybe you two can explain this to me because, uh, I was an honorary lesbian for like 30 minutes the other day, and I
You're
still don't
welcome.
understand it. Thank you. But, now that I'm a man again, I've lost all concept of this, so I don't understand. I'm from two perspectives. In the comic books, if I'm thrown off the Empire State Building, I am not going to care if it's Hawk Girl, Wonder Woman, Fire. if it's Cheetah. I don't care who's going to save me. I would like to be saved, please. But in the same thing applies to real life. If my house is on fire and somebody's got to break down the door, I don't care if it's a girl that's breaking down my door. Thank you. I'm going to grab my cats and go.
Yeah.
So, do either of you have any insight as to why? Because it's something that I can't understand myself. Just, I don't care. I want to be saved. Why does it matter if it's a girl?
Oh boy.
I can say
Uh,
what I've been told. Eileen, do you want to take this one first?
um, oh, here's the thing. If you don't know, you don't know, and I can't explain it to you why you aren't a toxic person because you won't get it because you aren't one. Uh, there is people who actually have issue with let's not say heroes because you know that it's fictional. In real life, people have issues with women being firefighters, police women, pilots, or basically any job that they expect, proficiency, and they automatically assume that if it's a woman doing it, then she only got the job because she is a woman, and diversity initiatives, and by default she's going to be less effective than a man.
It's
It's a
that.
thing that exists.
It's
That
literally
Yes.
that.
that's part of
Yes.
it.
Okay,
And sorry, go ahead.
because I've literally been told, like, one of the reasons going back to the comic books, I don't want to be saved by Wonder Woman because I'd be staring down her shirt the entire time. And I'm just like, if I'm thrown off the Empire State Building, the last thing I'm doing is like, gee, I wonder if I can look down her shirt. I'm just going to be like, I'm just going to be grabbing on for dear life and I'm going to close my eyes because I don't actually like heights.
Yeah, and you'll have to move
Priorities, man.
yeah. But that's part of it. The other thing, let's face it, it's the fan fiction, right? It's the imaginary boyfriend element of the Doctor and that toxic romanticism that ran through, Rose being in love with him, and then Amy using him to avoid getting married, and then Clara,
Whatever Clara was.
just
Everything that
yeah,
Clara was.
whatever that what. Don't underestimate the pull of a toxic relationship in media because it makes people feel less bad about their own mess.
Yes.
And the girls love to hate Rose, and I felt bad for Billy Piper in retrospect because I remember just thinking she has really big teeth, but that was my only sort of like, what, she's fine, I don't get it. But of course it was that because
Oh, she has.
pop idols aren't allowed to talk about having boyfriends.
Yes.
And the boy bands, they shouldn't. Whoever tried to, every love interest they tried to put in Supernatural for Dean Winchester, the fandom just hated it. And so
Yeah.
the fact that it was toxic all the time, it was like, okay, so there's that heteronormative coding, but she's no good for him. I can, um, I'm better than Rose. I'm better than Amy.
If
I
I
could make
were
him
there, I
happy.
will treat him better. Yeah.
Yeah, and it did. I mean, that was really the time, but it was also, let's face it, part of the reason anybody thought David Tennant or Matt Smith was sexy back then is because the show was telling you through the companion to lust after this guy because it really wasn't there. Tennant was very charismatic, but he was going out of his way to play that character as a children's panto comic relief. He was not trying to, he was wearing sneakers, for God's sakes. He was dressed like,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, they were pulling off nerdy college professor meets platonic friend in high school, but that whole leftover romance from nine really, you put any man on TV, it doesn't matter who he looks, what he looks like, some woman will want to jump him, you know?
Yeah, whether he is like a young looking man or a man in his 50s. And the romantic interest will be a woman in her 20s, regardless,
Yeah.
no
Because
matter how young or old the guy is.
I did see women go ew with Capaldi because he was
Yeah,
older as well. And sorry, as much as I didn't like a lot about Twelve's writing, he was sexier than 11.
for sure.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
Matt Smith was my first doctor, and I will be the first to admit his run was kinda iffy. And Amy Pond, despite being like Karen Gillian, my girl, I love her. I love the Ponds. They were ugh,
Oh,
in a lot of places.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if they tried to do the Ponds today, the fan base would freak out because of how badly Rory's treated.
yeah,
But back then, it was relatable of, let's face it, a girl looks at you, so you let her treat you like shit. That was like a nerd check kind of thing. And they were trying to figure out how to make a male companion work for the first time since Classic.
yeah. Since oh
Yeah.
my god, he was the first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
There,
Captain Jack really doesn't count there.
no, Captain
Oh.
Jack just only counts as a mistake. That I loved him as a giant head. Like, don't get me
The face
wrong.
of both.
Yeah, like that was a cool ending, but that character, I have a particular issue with Captain Jack Harkness because the cosplayers of Captain Jack, they cosplayed that character so they could
Oh
violate
no.
boundaries. Oh no.
Oh no.
They're guys, they were kissing guys, they were groping women, and it's in character. I
Ew.
almost knocked a guy. I was in challenge stance because a Captain Jack cosplayer shoved a psychic paper in my face and got in way too close. And it was just like, you're going to back off now because I just saw you stick your tongue down another guy's throat. And
Oh
I didn't
no.
ask. No, again, it was that time where now nerds were allowed to exist below the waist. Everything got a little bananas for a while, but Rogue much better than Captain Jack.
Yes, it's an improvement. I was that is my pet peeve. I have two. I have one that was not a not master. They fix it at the end of the run. The other one was eventually in the 15 era when Gucci. I was expecting to see more Rogue. We didn't
Yeah.
have more Rogues.
Though, very relevant plot point in the finale of 15. But let's get into that fact that they kept the Doctor canonically bisexual for 13, even though she was a woman and fell for a companion. I am glad that they just nipped that in the bud with 15. I'm tired of it. I would
Yeah.
like romances between, but what do you guys think? Because I know that was a complaint. Now, part of that was residual rage from Sherlock because
Queer
Sherlock
baiting.
queer baited bad. That was a legitimate complaint. There is no denying they did that there. But I didn't see queer baiting in 13. I saw legitimate conflict in that the last companion she got obsessed with died,
Yep.
and the last lesbian companion that traveled with the Doctor also died. Rest in peace, Bill. Though no, because you're traveling with Water Girl now. Only you're kind of what was that? What? Like what? And you're a Cyberman. I mean, I think the pain was the viewer at that point. But I actually thought that I believed the conflict because of that sort of dual background. you
Oh
know,
my God.
because there was a whole thing with Bill never being able to get through a date without the doctor screwing it up.
Yulian can go first because
Yeah.
I have takes.
Okay, Julian, what did you think about the Yaz and the doctor's sort of situationship?
Firstly, as a former honorary lesbian, I would be mortified if the
You're
doctor
welcome.
showed up with the Pope on a date.
Yeah,
Like if it shows up with a Pope, I'm just going to be completely mortified. That was such a good joke, though.
yeah, that was
That was
pretty
really
funny.
good. That was good.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it suffered from both from COVID and both from. I don't think they initially really wanted to do it. The fans shipped them. It was pretty clear that the fans shipped them. Uh, and I don't think that's the fault of the actors at all. They have great chemistry together. They bounced off each other really well. But fandoms tend to see chemistry and then see romance. So I'm glad they liked it. I'm glad they ran with it. It's kind of like with the Grand Serpent in Flux. I think he fell flat. I would have liked to
Yeah.
have seen him have more and have had more of a big ending, but they had to finish him off. So, okay, they did. I think they could have done with another episode to deal with that romance. I think that would have helped a little bit because there's not a lot of people that seem to can remember what happened with Bill. There's not a lot of people that seem to remember what happened to Rose, despite the
Hmm.
fact that they like, I love you, Rose. Have fun in a parallel universe with an alternate version of me, which might be actually the Veil Yard.
Ugh.
Bye. Uh, and
What could
I
possibly go wrong?
exactly, and on and on and on. Like, I really can't comment beyond that because to me it was all right.
Mhm.
I was disappointed that they didn't get like a big kiss goodbye, but I think that would have happened if they'd had one more episode to like further the romance or remind the people, okay, this is why it's not going to work. And I actually did. I'm not the hugest fan of the Doctor falling in love with his Earth companions or her Earth companions. I don't mind it because when Gallifrey's gone, okay, Gallifrey's gone. What else is he going to do? So I don't mind it then, but they made a point in Classic that he never fell in love with any of the
Yeah.
companions. Like he made sure that they hinted since then some of them were in love with him, but he never reciprocated it.
Now,
So
there's loving somebody and there's being in love
and
with somebody.
yeah,
And
like
yeah,
Joe Grant is the perfect one of they love the Doctor. They're very much going to be loyal to them. I'm definitely going to stream a couple more episodes of Joe Grant because the highlights is great. But then you have Sarah Jane, who clearly loves the Doctor, and then it's implied later with 10, yes, actually, I had fallen in love with you completely, but it was still handled so well. I would have liked to have seen that a bit more with Yaz and with 13. Unfortunately, COVID was a factor. The HBO stuff was a factor. I thought they handled it really well in Power of the Doctor, how it went out. They got to go on an ice cream date above the earth.
I
I mean, I
loved
thought that
that.
was beautiful. That was a sweet, good moment, a good gesture. And then when she goes to regenerate, she doesn't want to hurt Yaz to see
Right.
that's what she's going to become. But even then, even with not wanting to hurt Yaz, it's not sad. She goes in hope. It's a sunrise, not a sunset.
Yeah.
It's literally they called her like sunrises and rainbows. That's how she went
Yeah.
in hope in rainbows. What more do you want, people? That was lovely.
I did think there was kind of a cute teenage closet lesbian vibe to the Doctor and Yaz.
Yeah.
That hi Stormy. Kitty has joined us. You guys can't see it because we're on using audio, but there's Kitty. I thought again it was Chibnall going, we're not gonna write this sweeping heterosexual romance. We're gonna do it with that sort of working class England. How do you broach this topic kind of thing? And I did think I mean, the ice cream, kind of suggestive. I giggled. Um, I did, just for the record. But I did think that one, they played it as 13 still quite screwed up from Clara and Bill.
Yes.
Which I
Both my
thought,
hot takes.
yeah, okay, Eileen, you take it because I do think that gave that. I liked that when Russell T Davies came back, he showed respect to Chris Chibnall's writing. I like that Chris Chibnall did the best he could to respect what Moffat's writing team did, even though clearly he was going in a very different direction. So, Eileen, what are your takes?
Oh my God. Like I am the romance girl. This is my vibe. Um, Especially if one of the parties, if the relationship is some immortal old being, this is my jam. For every doctor, starting with the classics, and every time there is a new companion, and that companion inevitably says, I need to go home. The ones who choose to go home.
Right.
Every time I have said this during the streams, during watches the shows, and to myself, it couldn't be me. Never. Like, if a guy or a girl with a police boat takes me and says, come, let's travel the space and time, I am like, it was good meeting you guys. We had nice times. Here's where we part. Remember me fondly. I will go forth on this adventure and I will enjoy it. And yes, I will probably fall in love with the immortal being. Is it heartbreaking? Yes, it's how these stories usually go. Not only because, like you said, it's like, there is an obvious discrepancy in both power and age and experience and everything, all that, but also from the point of view of, immortal creatures like the Doctor, or basically immortal people who are going to be very long. They are going to invest emotion and fall in love with you, and you're eventually going to die. And are you going to do it once, maybe twice? Yes. After a few times, you will take the path of, maybe let's not commit to a loving relationship because I'm just going to keep breaking my heart over and over and over. Is it going to be beautiful? Yes, but why go there?
Well,
So I liked it that she went there with, Jazz. And I don't agree that they should have, maybe had a kiss or maybe declare each other girlfriends, because one, she is getting over Clara. And two, she is doing right not only to her, but by Jazz.
getting over,
Like
yeah, getting, go
that
ahead.
is a form of love also.
Getting over not over Clara, but everybody forgets about River because it all happened off screen. And
And
I
she
want to bring
doesn't. She remembers.
I want to bring that up, but Julian, go ahead.
I just want to touch on two things that Eileen said. One, you said dying 2 or 3 times. You were the doctor because it's established that either one will happen.
Well, 12 died about a billion times.
Yep.
So, I mean, that 12's the number of times, the amount of time the doctor spent in that 12th incarnation was vast. Like it
Yep.
was like 1200 years or something like that in that incarnate. Well, billions of years if you count the punching the diamond wall
Yep.
episode, right? But uh that this is the big problem with the way, because one night on that planet lasts 28 years. Is that
24 years.
24 years?
But yeah.
So the doctor, and that ended shortly before all the stuff with Missy and the Bill as a Cyberman and all that stuff. So the amount of time we got in series 2 of 12 is like this big, and then it's this really compact period of time. When you're married to a woman for 24 years, you're not just going to jump into something quickly. And I noticed with 13, she tried to set platonic boundaries very early with the fam, right? They tried
Yeah.
to do the whole found we're the fam. We're the fam. Like we're like friends that love each other, right? Like
This is the
no,
vibe. Everyone commit to the fam.
the fam. And I do think, and I think they were trying not to call back too much because I think they expected some new people would come on curious about the female doctor and they wanted to get away from the serialized storytelling. That was another big shift with 13 that some people didn't like. It felt more like classic to me. But yeah, the fact that not only is Graham grieving, the doctor's lost the doctor's wife, and that got so lost, you know? And I do think it informed the relationship with Yaz, and why it didn't go further. I just think that doctor wasn't ready to move on
No,
yet.
she mentions River like in the final
Yeah,
episodes, like,
yeah.
oh, River, my wife, and just goes, "You're, excuse me, you're what?" So she's obviously has River in her mind, and she has Rose, and she has Clara, and she has all the companions that have gone through that stuff, as well as River. So I believe letting go, and still she acknowledged that there is something with Jazz. She doesn't act upon it. That is a form of love, even if it didn't end up in a relationship.
I felt more love for River from 13 than I ever got from 12.
Yes, thank you. Me too.
that that was one of the biggest. Remember I said that things were set up during that run, that Moffat's run, that never went anywhere, and River is probably the absolute worst one. That was such a ending it. Like, come on, we don't get to see them as a couple at all.
Yeah, for two whole doctors, we've been hearing, oh, he is my husband. We had these so many adventures. I have a journal
Yeah, you're
saying
not
all the
my
amazing
doctor.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the amazing things we did together. And then we finally get to the doctor who is the husband in all those other times she mentioned, and we don't see it.
Yeah. And they were just so committed to 12 as asshole that it's like Capaldi couldn't make space in the performance. I don't know. That was a real miss for me that must have made it difficult to figure out, because that's complex. You know, being with somebody one night lasts 24 years. It's still 24 years of memories.
Yep.